Rightio, we're back here at Fletcher's Field, Markham, for the McCormick Cup 1994. And of course the score, Balmy Beach in this first half with the win behind them, leading by 9 points to 5. Balmy Beach, of course, all penalties in this game by a try to Yeomen. It's a good crowd here. As you can see, the car park fairly full. And Mike, your thoughts on the game so far?
I think it's a pretty typical McCormick Cup final. A lot of close play, not very much passing around, as both teams are a little nervous. Both teams' style actually is to keep the ball closer to the scrum. The Beach tends to run the ball out a little bit more, but haven't had enough. Have had a lot of trouble winning clean possession in the line out, which is the best way to get offensive possession. Peter Sabal's jumping in the center of the line out for York, has done an excellent job of controlling his own throw in and spoiling the Beach throw in. The Beach front row are having a lot of trouble dealing with the York front row, so they're scrummage. They're not getting very much clean ball. York would presumably be in the driver's seat, only being 4 points behind, with the win now in their favor, Lindsay.
Yeah, and some of the players that have stood out here, not too many of them, but scrum half Wilson would have to mention on the Balmy Beach, being the general as he normally is, and of course his kicking.
Colin Wilson is a well-experienced, bit of a renegade type of rugby player. Doesn't do the expected or the usual.
As you can see, the scrum's fairly even, Mike, and line-out's quite surprising, actually, now.
Balmy Beach have lost 5 of their own throw-ins.
Right, here we are, live kick-off by Yeomen. So Chip Wilson comes the blind side, finds touch.
One of the
Balmy
things
Beach having a lot of trouble in the lineouts against the Yeomen.
Well, York Yeomen have 2 excellent lineup players. Peter Zabal's in the center of the lineout, jumping number 4, is experienced, get way up in the air. Big boy, he's not going to get moved around in the air. Tom Gerberg, who jumps in the front, doesn't get up very high, but he fills a lot of space. So he.
It's Gerberg. He played for Ontario about 2 years ago. I haven't seen much of him around now in representative rugby.
No, he spent too much time being banned from rugby for rough play.
So Chip Wilson taps it to himself, tosses it into his number 8 Underwood. Takes it in, it comes loose ball. Chip says, I don't know what to do, but I'll run it out into touch. Most like the safest thing he could do. That's why give it to me in this situation. Something scrum halves don't normally like. Loose ball and ball given to them in a suicide position. So the line out, just in the center of the field. Again, comes in on the Balmy Beach side, didn't look too straight, but comes back on the Yeomen side.
Leave him.
Trishi and Hamilton right foot, puts it fairly high with the wind now behind him.
Number 2 offside, penalty given, back of the scrum.
Hurry up!
Number 2.
Davis Steele coming back for offside.
Good 2 yards.
So Hamilton again, the fly half for Yeomen, is going to have a shot at goal. Interesting now with the wind behind you.
Actually, it was surprising that Alan Hamilton didn't take the kicks in the first half. He's normally the goal kicker, a very strong kicker. He's got a lot of distance to his kicks.
Very impressed with Hamilton's play for Yeomen. I've seen this lad play a few times now. I've never seen him have a bad game. So Hamilton, a right foot kicker. He's got the distance, it looks quite handy. Goes to the right of the post, just swings away. Opportunity not taken, so Balmy Beach will come out there 22 on the defence.
There's 4 kicks for goal that York have missed, all except for that one perhaps, which is a little far, but with a person of his caliber not out of his distance. But they should have made. They'd be in command of the game if they'd made all their kicks.
So Wilson Patricio does into his centres. Again, Hamilton changes direction and puts it to the fullback Paggio, and Paggio going to go right through for Yeoman. It's a try. It's a good try by the fullback.
It's the second time York have attacked Beach's blind side very successfully. There was absolutely nobody in defense when he went around. He easily stepped inside the cross coverage to score a try all on his own.
Yeoman were going to come left. Hamilton changed it. Just spun it right, and the fullback went over in the far corner. It's a good try by Paggio, fullback for Yeoman. So Yeoman are running 2 tries. One just before half-time. Of course, this one now. So the conversion attempt to take place.
The replay is the fullback Joe Pagano moves to the right, goes around the hooker, steps inside the covering winger, steps inside the covering back row player, and has no trouble outstripping the prop into the end zone.
So Hamilton, it was Daniels that took the kick. So good conversion. So Yeoman in the front now, 12 points to 9, the defending champions of the McCormick Cup over Balmy Beach. So Wilson to recommence from halfway. Deep kick into Yeoman's territory.
Touched.
But it's gone out on the full, so
What's your choice?
Yeoman will say, we'll come back and take the scrum at halfway.
Beach looking like a pretty ordinary side right now, and unless they get their energy restored somehow, this game could become a bit of a runaway on York's behalf.
Wait, the ball's away. Stay up. Engage.
Trushi,
What's your offside?
it's the ball in. Out to Hamilton. Hamilton tried to do the dummy switch. Still going, steps out of the tackle, up over the halfway line into the 10-metre territory of the beach. Forwards come in behind him.
Kill the ball. Walk away. Kill on.
Face! Come on, Mark!
Penalty again gone against the Yeoman when they're on the attack. So Wilson was trying to urge his players on. They will now take the penalty. He thumps the ball and doesn't find touch. Paggio at Yeoman fullback takes the ball.
Taking the man off the ball. Full play. This man.
One of York's favorite tactics is to get in the way of everybody that's trying to go in to make the tackle, and it's exactly what they got caught for there.
So Chip Wilson again will try to bounce it and didn't find touch. Tried to sliver it into touch on the far side, but wasn't a very good kick at all by Chip Wilson.
He was trying to kick under the wind, and it didn't work.
Keep the gap, please. Keep the
So
gap.
they'll come back for the line out, just outside the Yeoman 22. Beach on the attack.
Out the gap. 4-5. Out.
Despite Beach's problems in the lineout, they're still running with a full lineout. Would have thought they'd start trying some 2- and 4-man lineouts.
So it came way down on the Beach side. But Yeoman takes advantage of the loose ball, but comes again to Chip Wilson. It's held up outside the 22. Loose ball, nobody wants it.
Knock on. You can play it all he wants on the ground.
Butler
Knock
trying to
on.
go in
Blue
there
ball.
and pick it up for Beach, but
Come on, he's doing it right. Stay up. Ball's away. Still away. Wait.
so Balmy
Engage.
Beach on the attack outside the 22. Wilson to put the ball in.
Take it up. Nobody. Too far away.
It's a struggle going on the front row.
Too far.
Well, Billy Hansen and Gord Young are continuing their
Fix it, please. Fix
discussions in the scrum.
Fix it, engage.
Mr. Hanson must be getting on in years.
He is, but there's nothing wrong with
Strong
that,
man.
Lindsay.
Offside. Quite bitching.
Gain penalty for offside.
He wants a date. Quite bitching.
So Hamilton, right foot,
Whoops, it is he.
puts the ball up high. Not a very good kick for touch.
Referee making his own commentons on the play on the field.
Referee's starting to enjoy this game, talking to the players as he runs through.
Well, it's something actually players can't stand is referees making editorial comment on the field.
So Yeoman throws the ball in, caught by the wind. Quick hands out to Greenwich, puts the ball up high.
Lad!
Couldn't see it. So Yeoman got the ball, Patrici, Hamilton. Hamilton just boots her right down into Beach, put them on defence. Allison for Balmy Beach doesn't find touch. Actually, the big Gerberg, he didn't want to take the high ball, so he let it bounce. Switzer, gain to Petrucci. Hamilton puts a low kick in. Good bouncing ball and just finds touch over into the far corner of the field. The touch judge gets his flag up. So this will bring Yeoman on the attack, 5 metres out from the Balmy Beach goal line.
Very difficult situation for the Beach to be in, considering the troubles in the line out today.
Gap all the way, let's keep it.
So Beach got the ball to throw in the line out. Yeoman will be wanting to win this ball or go through on the ball. So Yeoman setting the ball up for their scrum half. Tracy goes short side, doesn't quite get through, but the whistle's gone.
Hind foot. Coming in front of the ball.
It's
Gotta go to the back.
penalised
He's in front of the
Yeoman
ball.
for offside in the line out.
Actually, was offside on the loose play. York Yeoman runs it close to the line out, and the maul formed before the tackle was made and did it in an offside fashion.
So Wilson on defence finds a good touch finder, which brings the Balmy Beach just along outside the Yeoman halfway line. So Yeoman still on the attack, just near the halfway line.
Let's have the gap all the way. All the way.
So the referee asking for the gap on the line out.
52, 18, red.
So Beach to throw the ball in.
52, 18, red.
So Buckley and Torrance will be looking to win this ball. They can get up. And of course, good jump by Buckley for the Beach. Gets it back down. Wilson gets it.
Lifting the leg in the maul. Lifting his leg in the maul.
As you can hear the referee pretty explicitly state, you're not allowed to lift the opponent's leg while he's in a maul, and you can only push on his body.
So Wilson keeps the ball low for the win. Doesn't find that much yardage. But under the new laws, Beach will have the ball to throw into the line-out. Again, untidy ball, but quickly to get around there was the hooker for Yeoman.
Not going by red, no advantage. Easy up! Easy up!
Hooker took advantage of being in an offside position and got away with it on that one.
Scrum down, blue ball.
As he looked ahead of the ball there as the ball came out of the line-out.
Blue ball. Wait, 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 wait!
So referee holding them up. So Wilson for Balmy Beach. Tries to get it into the scrum, but down she goes again. Mr. Hanson is having a field day in there on the front row.
Start it flat. If it goes down, I'm going to penalise you unless he moves. Get it, start it, keep it. You can do it, don't give me crap.
It's the
Nice, out. Hind foot, keep coming.
So Yeomen swung the scrum. But Beach, first time they've pushed Yeomen back off the ball. But Yeomen in control. But they take it the short side, just over the halfway line. Try to set up, Trucy. Balmy Beach defending desperately. Trucy, he's offside.
Penalty given.
They called the first offside when there was a second one later.
So it's untidy play at the moment, but Beach trying to tidy it up, pick it up, bring it back to the Yeomen's halfway.
Hell of a mess, everybody up. Everybody's in there, everybody's in there.
Referee blows the whistle.
Shut up.
We'll put the scrum down again to commence play.
Bit of an unusual move on on Yeoman's behalf to take a quick penalty there with the wind behind them. They could have moved the ball quite a ways down the field. As you can see, they lost possession on their quick play and weren't able to pin Beach back into their corner, which they could have done.
One of the other things happening at the moment is England Colts have announced that they're going to be touring here in August next year, and they'll be playing the Ontario Colts team. A lot of young players coming through for Ontario.
There are. The high school rugby in Ontario has come along very strongly in the last 5-6 years, and we can expect to do fairly. The stats are staying in about a lot of penalties, as you can see in the field, against the trees. And if we pan down to the players, we'll see that another penalty is being given to the Beach against the Yeomen. The wind is actually staying surprisingly strong. Normally at here the wind dies in the second half of a game.
Doneridge. So it's been kicked through by Balmy Beach, trying to put the pressure on. Back in defence was Daniels for Yeomen. He picks up the ball, tidies it up, waits for his forwards to get him behind him. Beach are pouring in on the attack.
Back.
It's going to be blown up. Wasn't coming out. It's Beach ball.
That's an interesting call. The new laws will say that if you get a ball in a kick situation and go in against a crowd, then you get to keep the ball. And this one, because you took it in under the old laws, the ball switches to the other side.
Engage.
It's the first time the Beach have had been anywhere near the deep part of Yeoman's territory.
So Wilson fed the ball, it's picked up. And penalty again to the Balmy Beach. We're not moving very far.
It's probably Christie's 5th penalty he's taken today. He killed the ball on the ground.
Hang on.
He tried to kill the player as well.
This is quite a handy position, so Chip Wilson should have a shot at goal, which he's just signalled. The wind blowing towards them. The wind's still fairly high. So this, even though it's handy just outside the 22, it's quite a difficult kick with the wind coming right down the middle of the paddock. And of course the 9 points by Balmy Beach are all been penalties by Chip Wilson. So Wilson just outside the 22. This will tie the game up. It's not a bad kick. It's been held up by the wind and it just gets over the crossbar. So Wilson again a penalty.
Put that inside the left post about as closely as you can do it.
Just made it.
Ties it up.
So we've got a drawn game at the moment. So it's 12 all. Another penalty by Chip Wilson. To Yeoman's 2 tries. Crowd enjoying this game, and Hamilton to come back to the halfway line to commence play. So Hamilton kick it just outside the Beach 22. Beach take the ball down. Wilson wanting the ball. Just about crawling in there to get it, but we got offside there coming around Christie. Came around the far side and was caught for his endeavours.
Christie all the way around. Good pitching.
So Wilson again outside the 22. We'll try to put the Beach back inside Yeoman's territory, which he will do quite comfortably. So Beach again, just come back on the attack. It's been a seesaw crawling game at the moment. So Beach to throw the ball in. The line out comes back to Wilson. Wilson decides to have a little dab, but got nowhere to go. Just tosses it back into his forwards, trying to set the ball up again. It's a loose ball. He has it. Quickly gets it out to his... So it's picked up again by Butler. Butler trying to have a go at the goal line. He's 5 metres out from the Yeoman's goal line. Butler, a good little run. Beach trying to set the ball, but it stacks on the Mills over there at the moment. Comes back on the Yeoman's side, and Hamilton gets a kick away to bring them back. So Beach had a chance there, but just couldn't quite get over.
Excellent clearing kick close to the line, travel a long way before it crossed the line, according to the touch judge.
Touch judge was a wee ways back there, trying to catch up, but you're absolutely right. It was a good defensive kick.
20 minutes almost into the second half.
So Beach on the 10-metre line. 20 minutes gone on the second half. Throw this ball into the line-out. Comes back again on the Yeoman side. Hamilton puts it up the centre. Allison, the Beach fullback, tries to put a kick up, but in this wind it just goes straight up and comes down actually where he kicked it from. So Wilson puts a low kick, a sweeper across the field, bouncing into touch. That was a good kick by Wilson, using his head. And finds touch just inside the Yeoman 22.
Beach have picked up the place slightly in the last 15 minutes. York looked like they were going to take control of the game, and the Beach have managed to come back again.
Yes, mate, they've just tidied it up, and it still could be anybody's game. Mr. Steele comes out from this line out.
Number 3. Number 3.
So penalty to Yeoman, defensive penalty. They'll be pleased for. So Hamilton. The fly half for Yeoman. Good boot on him. And this is a massive kick. Finds it and brings Yeoman right inside the Beach territory on the 10-metre line. So 10 metres inside the Beach half.
Alan Hamilton not too happy with the touch judge's placing on that one. He got a favorable placing to kick before.
Yes, I absolutely right. I felt it was looked further to us up here, but short and line out taken, but it's been knocked on by the scrum half by Yeoman. Advantage being applied.
Knock on, no advantage. How easy up. Blue ball, knock on.
Trushi knocked the ball on going through. So David Steele will come back and put the scrum down. Beach ball. Just on their 10-metre line.
Gauge.
Scrums are going down very low. Mr. Hansen on this far side's trying to pull it down as low as he can get it down. Makes it very awkward for the Beach to hook the ball.
Oh yeah, it's the ball, yeah, sorry. Blow it for the knee down.
Sort of tires the front rows out, Mike, when this happens all the time.
It does. slows the play down too from a spectator's perspective.
Engage.
So Wilson to feed the ball in.
Let's go.
Yeoman putting the weight on, but comes back on the beach side. Underwood's got the ball at the moment.
This man, offside. Gotta come round. Let's come round.
So Beach being penalised for offside.
Pardon?
Critical penalty called here by referee Steele. Yeoman have a chance to put themselves ahead with about 15 minutes to go in the game.
So penalty there taken. It's in the centre of the field. Wind behind them.
Yeah.
It's well within the distance.
Nick Daniels, who's clearly the short-range kicker, has a more accurate boot, not as much distance as Alan Hamilton. He missed 3 in the first half, however, so we'll see how he does here in his first and the second half.
So Daniels for Yeoman. Chip kick. It goes to the right of the post. Maybe they should give it to Hamilton to have a go at.
Well, he missed his kick too, so.
So the score at the moment is still 12-all. Balmy Beach and Yeoman in this McCormick Cup, 1994.
Colin Wilson having visions of trying a trick play, which has backfired him in the past.
Many occasions. So
however,
a misjudgment, kicked out on the full. We'll come back for the scrum. Yes, I remember last year against Bath.
and Terry was giving Bath a real run for their money. One of the top club in England the past 3 years, and he tried a trick play and it cost Ontario the game.
Wade, get closer, engage.
So right on the 22, Yeoman to at the scrum. Hamilton's got the ball, but drops it behind him. Tracy, the scrum half, went around, tried to tidy it up, but didn't get the ball. But Yeoman on the attack, outside the beach 22. Bit of grunt going there in the front row. Tracy, the scrum half, just quickly tosses out to McRae. So Yeoman, again, Patricia the blind side, decides to have a bit of a run himself, back into his forwards. Penalty gone, Beach kicks the ball away.
Taking down, flicking
So
back.
he, penalty shot just inside the 22. Yeoman can put points on the board again.
Natural momentum, kinetic energy, doing some
Game
work.
slowed up
Chris Rohrer caught
considerably.
for playing more than the man on the ground, flicked the ball back and in full view of the referee, and York gets another chance at putting themselves in the head.
You call for goal?
Just one of the, while we're waiting for the penalty shot, one of the points of interest, I was told the other day, Canada has the same number of rugby players as Wales and as many as Scotland and Ireland. We can't be called a minor nation anymore. A lot of our players from Canada playing overseas, as we mentioned earlier on, and doing quite well in Europe.
Well, Canada is now ranked either 7th or 8th in the world, which is sort of halving their ranking in the last 5 years.
So Daniels misses the kick again, goes to the left of the post.
That's 6 kicks for goal, 0 for 5 for Nick Daniels.
And that was quite handy as Daniels runs back with the rip in his jersey. He's obviously had a wee bit of treatment there on the ground to receive the gap there. So Mike, quite interesting the stats at the moment.
Well, it's not unusual that these two clubs would roll up a large number of penalties.
So back to play live. And the short side, the Yeoman run into their forwards, trying to set the ball up. So Hamilton places the ball down for a scrum up. Trucy, oh, and picked up by Allison as he was coming through for the beach. But we'll come back for the knock on. He nearly got away with it, but disappointed not picking up that ball and going through.
Well, it's a tricky call on the knock on. He had his hands up in the air and the guy passed it into him. but most plays off the arms or hands will be.
Still away. Engage.
So scrum on the 10-metre line. Just quickly held Yeoman. Oh, bad hands there.
Knock on, no advantage, blue ball.
There's
Second
Underwood
time
coming
they-
in there from the beach with a round arm to his opposition number.
Actually, the dirty play in this game is not being nearly as serious as it could have been. It's one of the things that close scores seem to do to rugby players is to keep them under control with their dirty rugby.
The scrum goes down again. Claps down this side.
All right, let's bring it in real close. You guys know exactly what you're doing. Quit fucking around. Engage. In.
So Chip Wilson to feed the scrum. Just inside the halfway. Not doing much with it. Nobody wants the ball. It's all loose there. McRae, he goes down on it.
Easy up here. Knock on, no
The referee
advantage.
has no hesitation, has to blow the whistle,
Oh,
bring the
there's
scrum.
do up these 15 pounds of extra batteries in the fucking bucket. Okay,
So we've got one of the beach players down injured.
should try carrying this thing.
Scott Bryan tackled by Christie, who worked on him a little bit when he was on the ground.
Wait,
Scott's been around for quite a while. I think he'll come back pretty quickly.
hang on, get the mark. Wait, engage.
So Petrucci put the ball in for Yeoman. And the scrum goes down again, and the referee,
He's in. This man,
right on top of it,
this man, going out.
penalises the beach front row.
There's a Billy Hansen win there. He screwed his prop all the way out of the scrum, and he had no choice but to go down. And not only does he get a penalty for going down, he gets injured.
Call for post. Sticks his ass out, it goes down. Every time he gets in trouble, he bails out. When he bails out, it goes down. He knows.
You
So
can hear,
Yeoman have got a chance here, just on the 10-metre line. So Hamilton will be taking this penalty.
Can hear the referee describing what's happening as Hansen puts pressure on the beach prop Young. He swings out to get himself more leverage, and as he does, he takes more support away from the front row, which leads to a collapse.
So Hamilton, this penalty shot
Injury, of course.
can put the Yeoman out in front in this McCormick Cup final. Wind behind him. Kicks it,
Nope.
and it swings to the left of the post. So he's missed it again.
That's 7 kicks missed by York, 2 by Hamilton, 5 by Daniels. Game would be long over by now if these kickers are putting the ball in. Beach, however, have only had 4 kicks, for goal, and they made all 4. Over half an hour gone in the second half. That means less than 10 minutes left in regular time. There will be overtime, obviously, in a cup final if there's a tie.
Chip
In league
Wilson
games,
kicks
the
out.
games can end at a tie, but not in these kind of playoff games.
So it comes back on the Yeoman side, going the short side to their fullback, Agio. Mark called by Balmy Beach, fullback Allison. Good defensive ploy, and Balmy Beach and Yeoman on the attack. A quick tap by Chip Wilson, taking a run. He's still up over the 22. He's up over to the halfway line, still going, looking for support from the beach, but no one was there to help him. So Yeoman pile in, comes back on the Yeoman side. It's untidy ball, picked up by Gerberg. Has a bit of a run for Yeoman. One of the big boys of the power pack. And again offside, and Buckley coming back. Says, oh, I'll take that ball, but the referee has other views on that. So offside by Mr. Buckley. So Hamilton, he's going to have another shot. This is a longer kicker from his previous attempt.
Well, maybe the harder the kick gets, the easier it will be for one of these guys to put it through.
So it's just inside the beach half. Kick of over 50 metres as the crowd start to get a bit alive to give Mr. Hamilton a bit of support. So a bit of stamping going on in the grandstand, trying to get the noise level up to encourage this kicker.
These aren't the Yeomen fans doing
Either
this.
encourage him or put him off.
I think it's trying to put him off.
So
But it didn't
Hamilton,
work.
it looks quite handy this time. No, it's gone to the right again.
It did work. Not far off. A little bit of wind blowing across the field just took it right at the far post.
It had the distance. So Wilson runs out quickly for Balmy Beach, but decides the wiser move to get his forwards all under control. So Wilson from his 22. Up there quick was Young for Balmy Beach. Front row player. Line out, Balmy Beach thinking of taking a quick throw. Change their minds because it's Yeoman's ball. So Gerberg, number 5, front the line out for Yeoman. Beach it quick, smetting the ball. Comes back to Wilson, quick hands. Centre, Bryant. Raver had the ball for Beach, setting it up. Gain comes back on the Yeoman's side after Beach take it in.
Alan Hamilton tried a little chip over the back. Would have been very useful if it had bounced 2 yards in from where it bounced. It went straight out in the full, so the lineout's back from where he kicked it.
That gives the advantage to Beach inside the Yeoman, just inside the Yeoman half.
Gap in the line.
Less than 4 minutes to go in regular time, plus a bit of time for injury time. Not much time for either team to come back if the other team scores. So it's probably next score wins in this time.
So it's still 12 all. So we may be into extra time.
Back.
Thrown by Beach. Not going anywhere, so the referee will blow and give the ball to Yeoman. Just inside their half. 5 metres out from the line out, from the touch line. We've got a Balmy Beach player down on the ground.
You gotta keep it tight in there. Here, ball, you gotta keep it tight in. Wait. Engage.
So Petrucci, Wilson, number 9, just standing off the Yeoman scrum. Trying to put pressure on
Down. And again. Nope, to here.
David Steele will come back and put the scrum down.
Because it went down, somebody went down in the scrum. Put it up. Okay.
So Yeoman
Hang on.
put the ball in,
Drop.
just inside their own half. 5 metres out from the touchline.
I don't want him to get hurt. Are you up to Gordy?
So the referee's
Okay.
deciding
Hold it
to
tight. Okay.
talk to the Young, the prop for
Wait. Engage.
Beach, just checking if he was injured or not. The Yeoman feeds the ball, Trucy. Trucy quick hands to Hamilton. Hamilton does a dummy, tosses it back into his fullback, Paggio. Takes a run up to the centre. They're still inside their own half. Didn't gain much ground. Hamilton on the short side. Held up in the tackle by the Beach. Oh, the big... Good run here by Yeoman up the middle. Tosses it out to Switzer. Switzer tosses it back in again to Monza. Yeoman piling in at the moment. Trucy. Spinning it wide. We could have a try here with the fullback coming up on the outside. But it's held up by Balmy Beach. Advantage been applied by the referee. He'll come back for the penalty. We're offside, and this penalty is right up in front of the post, so it's quite a crucial penalty to receive with the score being 12-all.
Penalty was against Scott Hendry, who has been encroaching in the center of the field in a covering position from Hooker. He was, in my view, very marginally offside, but tough call to be called in the middle of with 2 minutes left to go in a tie game.
We got the touch judge out talking to the referee, had his flag up, and they'll have words to something must have gone on there. That
number 9 blue.
And he's calling out number 9 blue, which is Chip Wilson.
Man on the ground, the punch. It's a penalty. Cut the shit. Come on. Penalty here, no change. Penalty
So
we just understood the language in rugby is not as polite as it is in tiddlywinks, but it is in the same as in every other sport.
It came out loud and clear, so the penalty still stands for Yeoman. And
this, however, doesn't mean that he gets 2 kicks for goal. He only gets the 1 kick.
Mr. Wilson was told, the captain of the Balmy Beach. So this time the penalty is going to be taken by the Yeoman fullback, so he might have a bit of luck. Paggio right on the 22, centre of the field. And this is the first time that he's had a attempt at cementing some points for the Yeoman. So again, the noise coming from the grandstand to try to put him off, but he just chips it, and up go the flags. So Yeoman out in the lead from a penalty.
The worst looking kick of the bunch, but effective. And it doesn't matter if you only got 1 out of 9 if you win.
Doesn't matter if it didn't look pretty, it's points on the board. So 15 points to 12 to Yeoman, with a few minutes to go in this half, leading the Beach. So Beach kick it down inside the Yeoman 22, and this is a good kick. It's just a quick line out taken by the Beach. Bit of desperation now by the Beach to come back in this game. Penalty.
Watch your shit, I'll turn around.
So Wilson takes a chip. Campbell has a bit of a run. He brings it up inside the half, puts it on the ground. Penalty again by Mr. Steele to Beach.
Get up, get up, get up!
So Wilson wants to take a quick tap. Does again, quickly swings it out to his fly after Honorage. Allison puts a sweeper across and finds touch just out on the 22 for Balmy Beach.
We're in about the 2nd minute of injury time. The whistle could go at any time. Referee's looking at his watch quite quickly and quite frequently, clearly down into the last minute or 2 of the game.
Yep. Right, so the ball throws in the middle line out for Beach, but untidy ball tapped back on the Yeoman side.
He's back there, he's back there. Get him out, get him out, get him out.
Comes back in defence to Hamilton. Puts the boot in, thumps it into touch with the wind behind him. Good powerful kicker, Hamilton. So he keeps...
This could be the Beach's last gasp here to get back in the game.
Desperation by the Beach now. Injury time, right on the 10-metre line, on the attack, the Beach.
Hurry up, you're on time, run in time.
Comes back to Chip Wilson.
What?
Danovich puts a high kick ahead for the forwards. Campbell up there. Allison up there for the Beach, coming back in defence. Wilson asking for the ball, the scrum half, number 9. And it's all over. This is the McCormick Cup, full-time. Defending champions Yeomen have won the McCormick Cup again for the second time, 1993 and 1994. Mike Williams, for your comments, please, on this game.
Well, Lindsay, typical Cup game. There were 2 tries scored by the winning side, Yeomen Rugby Football Club, so they deserved to win the game. Beach scored all 12 of their points through penalty kicks, still in the game all the way through till the end. Yeomen leaving them in the game by virtue of missing a lot of kicks, but they got the only one that counted, which was the last one, and won again the double. They won the league this year, which is a little bit tainted by the fact that the Ottawa Irish were denied the league championship due to the fact that they committed an administrative technical mistake in reporting or not reporting a result on time. So York were awarded the league in a bit of a dubious, but this time they won it where they should win it, which was on the field. Clearly a stronger pack, pushed the Beach pack around. Front row led by Billy Hansen gave the front row of the Beach a rough time. The second row, Peter Sabals and Tom Gerberg were strong in the lineouts, and therefore won all the set pieces that they needed to and controlled the game in the set plays. And we see here the stats, probably the most not surprising considering who's playing, but the penalties, almost 40 penalties between the 2 teams, which comes from 2 forward playing teams. Lineouts, Balmy Beach were awarded more lineouts because of clearing kicks by Yorkmen. The Beach problem was that they only got about 5 of their own lineouts, which is probably the difference in the game. And in the scrums, they lost 2 against the tight heads, and that's probably where the game was won by York by Yeomen, excuse me, by virtue of their strong play in both the lineouts and in the scrums. Kept the ball tight to the pack every time they took it out. Never let the ball out to the backs, except the 2 times that they scored tries. Both times, back moves to the winger on the blind side. In one case, the fullback took it blind. In the other case, the set play from a scrum in which the ball was fed from the number 8 to the scrum half, moving to the blind side. The score again was 15-12, composed of 2 tries by Yeomen and 1 penalty. The 12 points scored by Colin Wilson, captain of the Beach, in kicks for goal. Colin was 4 for 4, and Yeomen kickers between them were 1 for 8. So that's what kept the Beach in the game. This is the second time in a row that York Yeomen have won the double. Last year they won also the league and the Knockout Cup. This year they won the league and the Knockout Cup. Some other finals today as we get ready for the presentations down on the field. The TRU rugby finals were held in 3 divisions. Balmy Beach. We just saw Bob Jenkins, president of the Ontario Rugby Union, hand the trophy for winning the McCormick Cup to Scott Schweitzer, captain of Yeoman's team, and now the individual cups are being awarded to each of the players. There is number 7, Nick Daniels. Tough day with the boot, but a good day covering in defense. 14, Terry McElray, scored 1 of the tries. Number 10, carrying the trophy there, Alan Hamilton. Billy Hansen, the ex-Canadian international, clearly running the front of the scrum, got that one. Various players being in. There's Dimitri Kokonakis getting his awards, played for a long time for York. I'm sure that winning it 3rd or 4th time for him. John Christie we're just now going to go down on the field to Lindsay O'Connor talking to the York captain, Scott Schweitzer.
It's all about, this is the McCormick Cup. Scott Schweitzer, the captain for Yeomen, 2 years in a row. I mean, you've got to be pleased with this.
last year was sweet, but to win it twice in a row after what we went through this year, ups and downs, beating Ottawa last week in a tough overtime win, taken away today, it was beautiful stuff. I love it.
Yeah, a bit slow to start. A lot of problems with the kicking today. I know the wind was a factor. You know, I noticed you changed kickers with Daniels doing the kicking, and of course Hamilton, and then you changed the kicker at the last minute, and still didn't prevail with the strong wind.
Yeah, it's a kicker's life. I wouldn't want to be a kicker myself. It's tough out there today. Chip put a couple of good ones through, but we were having a hard time. Hey, we put the one that counted through, and that's all that matters, Lindsay.
And of course you must be pleased with your forwards. Battled all day. A lot of grunting going on up there in the front. Referee having a few problems with the front rows. Do you think this was a factor of one of your game plans of just wearing down the beach forwards?
Yeah, we play it up tight. We want to get in front of our forwards. They like us to be in front of them, and that's where we're the best. When we get some space after that, second, third phase, then we'll try and do that as well. But our forwards are our strength.
It all says good for Ontario Rugby. Thanks, Scott. This is the McCormick Cup, the final of Ontario Rugby. And this is it for Fletcher's Field for 1994. And back to the studio. Thank you.